Which article deals with the Vice President of India?
Article 63.
Yes. So when we talk about the Vice President of India, so it starts from Article 63. Article 63 simply says that there shall be a Vice President. Okay? Vice President of India. Now 64 says that Vice President shall be ex officio chairman of Council of State. So why is he not a member of Council of State? Why he or she is not a member of Council of State? Any idea? We see that in the case of Lok Sabha Speaker, Lok Sabha Speaker is Lok Sabha Speaker a member of Lok Sabha, not a member of Lok Sabha?
Member of
Lok Sabha. But then in the case of Vice President of India, we see that he or she is not a member of the Council of State or Rajya Sabha. Why?
because he is Vice President.
ऋषिजा बताइए. Yes, ऋषिजा. Why? Why?
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So my question is, why Vice President is not a member of Council of State? How can we support this argument? What is the reason behind it? What is the reason behind Vice President not being a member of Council of State? Anyone?
Sir, I think because of the constitutional provision that provided in Constitution.
That's written in the Constitution. What is the reason behind it? What can be the argument behind it? What can be the argument? Now, tell me, Vice President is an elected or a nominated post?
Elected.
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 Who participates in the election of the Vice President?
Only MPs of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha.
MP of Rajya
Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha.
And Lok Sabha. Whereas when we talk about the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Speaker of Lok Sabha gets elected by
Member of Lok Sabha.
Member of Lok Sabha only. Okay. So now tell me, being a Vice President of India and being ex officio Chairman of Council of State, what do you think? Is the Chairman of Council of State is an additional office given to the Vice President of India, not additional office? Or additional position or not? Or additional function or not?
Additional function.
Yes. So one thing that we see is that he's an elected member, and elected the election, the people who participates, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members participate. Since both the members participate, that's why we cannot say that yes, either he cannot be head of both the houses of parliament, and that's why he is not given any exclusive right. No exclusive right being a member. Okay. The second thing that we will see is when we talk about Rajya Sabha, what is the duration of Rajya Sabha for any member?
6 years.
Sir, it's a permanent house.
देखिए आप क्वेश्चन सही से नहीं सुनते. My question was what was the duration of any member of Rajya Sabha? I did not talk about Rajya Sabha. I talked about the members of Rajya Sabha. So duration of Rajya Sabha MPs are 6 years. However, when we talk about the Vice President, the term of office of Vice President is for
5 years.
5 years only.
5 years.
So you are finding this distinction? That's why he's not a member of Rajya Sabha. He's ex officio chairman. So being a chairman is the additional responsibility. Okay. And the sole purpose of Vice President is to act as a president when president is not in a position to discharge his her duties. Okay. Okay. So what we see over here is, the position of the Vice President. You might. That's why there are sometimes questions asked even in UPSC, like, is the position of Vice President necessary? Now, do you think Vice President position is necessary? If necessary, why? Is the position of Vice President necessary in India? Not necessary in India. Can't we have a member of Rajya Sabha being elected as a chairperson? Same like the case of Lok Sabha.
Sir, can you please repeat the question?
Why can't we have a member of Rajya Sabha being elected as a chairperson of Rajya Sabha rather than Vice President acting as an ex officio chairperson of Rajya Sabha? Why can't we have a member elected as a chairperson of Rajya Sabha rather than Vice President acting as a chairperson?
Sir, because of indirect election.
Because of
Indirect election.
So what difference does it make that yes, there is indirect election? What can be the reason behind it?
Sir, because the vice president is the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, ex official chairperson.
So my question is that why can't we have a member of Rajya Sabha being elected as a chairperson of Rajya Sabha rather than vice president acting as a chairperson of Rajya Sabha? Yes, Harshit.
सर आई थिंक कि वाइस प्रेसिडेंट का जनरली कुछ काम होता नहीं अगर उसको एक्स ऑफिशियल चेयरमैन ना बनाया जाए, जस्ट लाइक कि वो एक्ट करेगा प्रेसिडेंट के एब्सेंस में या इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन में।
ठीक है, फिर से मैं क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर रहा हूँ। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि हम मेंबर को ही क्यों ना चेयरपर्सन बना दें, किसी एक मेंबर को चेयरपर्सन क्यों ना इलेक्ट कर दें? यस, शिवा ज्योति।
Sir, I think that vice president is impartial and neutral, and
I am not talking over here. Now I am talking about Rajya Sabha member. Why Rajya Sabha member can't be chairperson?
Sir, is it because of the term? Like
Yes.
vice president?
No, not because of the term of 5 years. Yes, it is about the term. Because members of Rajya Sabha are nominated. No, members of Rajya Sabha, except 12 members, all members are elected members of Rajya Sabha. See, the argument is very simple. Most of you know, you don't know how to connect it. We know that 1/3 of Rajya Sabha retires after every 2 years.
2 years, yes.
Okay. So how to elect? Okay. So this is the issue. Meaning, either you are going to elect someone who will be spending, let's say, 6 years, then only it's possible. This means you are going to elect new members. Yes or no? You
Yes,
can't elect someone who has already spent, let's say, 2 years in Rajya Sabha. You'll always have to elect someone who is going to spend 6 years in Rajya Sabha. So this means you are going to elect new members only, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The second problem with this is that since 1/3 is going to retire after, so when this person is entering 4th year, you'll find that 2/3 are the new members. These new members who have not participated in the election of chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Let me repeat this. So chairperson, this chairperson is someone who is going to spend 6 years. Okay. After, let's say, 2 years, 2 years, and 2 years. So all those people who are available over here, they are going to participate. Yes or no? But after this, 1/3 new members will be elected. After again, 1/3 new members. So once this person enters the 5th year of his or her tenure, you'll find 2/3 members are new who have not participated in the election of the chairperson. However, in the case of Speaker of Lok Sabha, you'll find that the tenure of a speaker is in synchronization with the term of Lok Sabha. Is this distinction clear?
Yes, sir.
Valid lag raha hai argument?
Yes.
So that is the reason that we have vice president as a chairperson, so that there cannot be any, you can say, ambiguity in terms of who is participating in the election and who is not participating in the election. Even in the case of vice president, we might say that yes, sir, there are new members, but then since vice president is not a member of Rajya Sabha, there is no dispute about him or her. Clear? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
So see, that's why I said in the previous lecture, I said that there are multiple instances where you'll find that yes, there is some degree of ambiguity. There are some degree of inference that we draw from the readings. There are sometimes you'll find that there are multiple articles which will help us develop our own argument. These are some of the things which you might not feel which has been mentioned in the Constitution. But then how do we make an argument about it? Okay. So these are some of the ways where you can think of, okay, sir, these are some of the conclusions that we can draw. Otherwise, if you just give it a plain reading, it's very difficult to understand. Okay. So that's why I keep on saying that in assertion region type of question, we need to be very much cautious about the arguments that we are going to make. Not cautious about the argument that then we might feel that okay, our reasons are correct, but then it might not be the correct reason or true reason. So we have to be very much conscious, okay, while selecting our answer. Okay, and in assertion region type question, what happens is that everyone will have their own argument, everyone will have their own reasoning, but then every answer cannot be correct. Okay, is that clear?
yes, sir.
So if there's a question like why we are not electing a member of a Rajya Sabha as a chairperson of Rajya Sabha, so this is the ambiguity if we select. Otherwise, there is no problem. Why? Because it's not a fixed body. Someone said in the very beginning that yes, Rajya Sabha is not a fixed body. So Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. However, all the MPs of Rajya Sabha have not the same period. They might have the same term of 6 years, but then they do not have the term for the same period. Whereas when we talk about in the case of Speaker of Lok Sabha, the term of speaker or the tenure of speaker of Lok Sabha is attached to the tenure of that Lok Sabha, right? This means, like Om Birla, his tenure will end with the end of this parliamentary term. Clear? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Anyone having any else argument? Anyone who might feel that, okay, sir, no, I do not agree with your argument. I have my own argument. So anyone who has own argument? And then why does everyone agree? Yes, Sivajyoti.
Like in India, Vice President act as the chairperson of Rajya Sabha. That is the same in the USA Senate or different?
See, if India has a parliamentary system, US has a different system. The purpose of objective of US is something different than that what we see in the case of India. Okay, in the case of US, even the vice president has important, you can say, administrative position that we don't see in the case of India. So two purposes, and the second purpose, however, and I said that being a chairperson of the Council of State is an additional position. Why additional position? Why can't we say that yes, acting as a president is an additional position and not a chairperson for Council of State? Why acting as a president? It's a part-time job, right? Acting as a president when the president is not in a position to discharge his or her duties is a part-time work. So why this is not a additional work? Why are you arguing that ex-officio chairperson of the Council of State is additional work? Anyone? Roha? See, we have already argued, and yesterday also we discussed, like when the position or the post of president is vacant. So the vice president leaves this work and act as a president, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
This means
Yeah.
the post of president is more important than the post of ex-officio chairperson of Council of State. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And it is so that, and yesterday we discussed that the post of president, the president is the head of state. So this post cannot remain vacant at any cost. Okay, and the sole purpose of having a vice president of India is so that this post doesn't remain vacant. Otherwise, we could have, like, there are multiple posts which remains vacant for, let's say, 6 months, but then we cannot treat the same in the case of the post of the president of India. Okay, so that's why if there is a question that yes, whether the post of the vice president is important or not important, it's important. You might say that yes, he doesn't have any executive role or something, unlike the president of India. Like president of India has an executive role. He does all the appointments and all. The legislatures, all the bills are passed. Any bill cannot be passed without the assent of the president of India. Let it be money bill or not. Because even for the introduction of money bill, you need to have the approval of the president of India. Right? So the sole purpose of having a vice president is that in case the president is absent or not in a position to discharge, he can take up the role. Okay, because president is the head of the state, and state cannot function without its head. Clear?
Yes, sir.
चलो.
Yeah.
So now let's. So this much is clear to all. इसमें क्वेश्चन आएगा तो सभी लोग गलती कर देंगे एग्जाम में, या कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जो सही करेंगे? आराध्या,
यस सर
गलत करके आना है क्या?
नहीं सर सही करके आना
तो आप लोगों ने प्रेसिडेंट वाइस प्रेसिडेंट पहले पढ़ा था कि नहीं पढ़ा था?
नहीं पढ़ा था.
नहीं पढ़ा था. किसी ने पढ़ा था?
Sir.
Anyone who went through the details of the vice president and all? आदित्य,
No, sir.
आपने नहीं पढ़ा था?
No, I didn't.
रोहा? चलो. Now let's. Did you read previously?
Sir, when the topic was done, I did go through it, through the articles and all. Yes.
But not in this fashion, right?
Not.
Okay. ठीक है. So see, whenever we are studying constitution, there is always something new that we are going to learn each time that we read. Okay, so we must not feel that Indian constitution is something which is very easy to understand. Yes, it is easy to understand provided you look at all the aspects of it. So now let's quickly talk about the VP. So election. So as we saw, participates both the houses. Only elected or nominated also?
Both.
Both elected and nominated. Both elected and nominated members participate. Okay. And what is the system of election? Who conducts? Who conducts? We can read it later. What is the system of election? Proportional representation or first past the post?
Proportional representation.
Proportional representation. Okay. What are the qualifications to become the Vice President of India? citizen of India. Second,
Have
minimum age,
completed 35 years.
35 years. Then third, eligible to be elected as a member of
Rajya Sabha.
Rajya Sabha. So tell me two differences in terms of election of president and the vice president. So one difference is in terms of the qualification, and the another difference in terms of who participates in the election. Okay. 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 Yes or no?
Yes, yeah.
Term of office. Term of office of the vice president is for 5 years or 6 years?
5 years.
5 years. From the date of election or declaration of result, or from the date of holding office?
Holding office.
Holding office.
Holding office.
Holding office. Okay. What about the removal? What is the removal procedure? Removal procedure can be initiated in either house, only Lok Sabha, only Rajya Sabha.
First in the Rajya Sabha.
Yes. Resolution.
Sorry, sir.
Resolution to be moved in Rajya Sabha. Now you will find that when we talk about the majority, so it simply says passed by majority. Majority of all the then members of the council. So are we going to include vacant seat or not vacant seat? Are we not going to include the vacant seat?
Not going to include vacancies.
Not going to include vacant seat. So only the then members of the council, okay, and agreed by House of People. Okay. And before the passage of the resolution, 14 days period should be given to the vice president. 14 days notice period. Okay. Now, let's say when the motion for removal of the vice president is going on, can the vice president chair Rajya Sabha? Can PP chair Rajya Sabha during his own removal discussion? Can he head that discussion? Can he chair that discussion in the Rajya Sabha? No, he cannot. He or she cannot. Okay. Now, any dispute regarding the election of the president or the vice president shall be inquired by
Deputy Chairman.
Array, I'm talking about president and VP vice president election dispute.
The Supreme Court.
Is inquired and decided by Supreme Court. And whatever decision the Supreme Court takes, it's a final decision. I mean, you cannot contest again. Okay. Now, if let's say the Supreme Court says that yes, the election of the vice president is void. Okay, let's suppose. So in that case, any decision which has been taken by the vice president, being the vice president, will he or she be accountable for it? Meaning, let's say vice president, he was acting as a chairperson and he suspended, let's say, 2 members. And later Supreme Court decided that the election of the vice president is void. So he is being removed as a vice president. Now, do you think someone can overturn the suspension of these 2 members? No. So, you know, what happens is that all the president and vice president, they are immune from any dispute. Any dispute in the sense that any decision that they have taken holding that post, okay, they're immune from any controversies which arise at a later stage. Okay. Now, important is Article 72, and this is related to the President of India. Power to grant pardon. Power to grant pardon. So the power to grant pardon is an executive decision or a judicial decision?
Judicial.
बताइए executive है कि judicial है? It's a judicial decision. It's not an executive decision. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So power in terms of the President of India can grant pardon. Pardon in case punishable or convicted. Okay. Now, this is only for district court or even in case of court martials. Any decision which has been taken by the, let's say, military court, can the President of India overturn that decision? Or in all cases, like we know that in case of death sentence, the President of India can overturn or give pardon. But is this the same true for military courts also?
No, sir, the martial decision cannot be taken.
Martial decision cannot be overturned, right? Abhishek? President of India is the supreme head of the armed forces, right? Yes,
Yes,
or no? So why can't he
Yes,
overturn
sir.
the decision? Tell me. He can. So अच्छे से पढ़िए आप लोग constitution. He can overturn the decision of the court martial, military court also. He can overturn the decision of the death sentence also. Okay. Now, who else has the power to grant pardon apart from the President of India? Governor.
Governor?
Yes. Now tell me, in one of the cases, Supreme Court said that whenever the President of India is going to exercise his or her power to grant pardon, it should not be arbitrary in nature. When power to grant pardon must not be arbitrary. Meaning, it should not be a case where the President of India is going to do something or does something or grant pardon without due consideration. So Supreme Court says that even to exercise this power, there should be a sound reasoning behind it. Otherwise, it can be challenged in the court. Okay. Is it clear? So tell me one case where we saw the decision of the Governor of India that was challenged. I mean, not Governor of India, Governor of Maharashtra that was challenged in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court overturned the decision of the Governor of Maharashtra. Anyone? I think there was a movie on this. So there was a Navy officer, K.K. Nanavati.
Rustam, sir.
So what happened in that case was that it was submitted to Governor, and when it was pending before Governor, they also applied in Supreme Court. So High Court said that okay, this person is guilty. They also applied Supreme Court. Now, when the case was pending in the Supreme Court, Governor granted pardon. So now tell me, when the Governor granted pardon, what can the Supreme Court do? Will it continue or will it not continue? So Supreme Court says that, when the case has been submitted before the Supreme Court, even the Governor, neither the Governor nor the President can take any decision because it becomes sub judice. Okay? Okay. So this is all that we need to study about the Vice President here. Now let's quickly let's look at the Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers. Yes, please ask.
Sir, if President does a violent crime, can the President punished after his retirement?
Violent crime President क्यों करेंगे? President के पास time है क्या violent crime करने के लिए? Do you think President stays alone to commit such crimes? Chalo. Council of Ministers. So Council of Ministers is headed by who heads the Council of Ministers?
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. And what is the purpose or objective of Council of Ministers? Aid and advise the President. So is Prime Minister part of Council of Ministers or not a part of Council of Ministers?
Part of Council of Ministers.
Yes, so he is also part of Council of Ministers. The only difference is that Prime Minister is the head of Council of Ministers. So you cannot say that Prime Minister is different from the Council of Ministers. Okay. And the President is going to act according to the aid and advice tendered by the Council of Ministers, or act according to the aid and advice. So now tell me, does the aid and advice tendered by the Council of Ministers, is it binding upon President or non-binding?
Non-binding, sir.
So what do you mean by the term non-binding? What do you mean by the term non-binding? Is the President bound to take decision as per the advice given by the President, Prime Minister, or not bound to take decision? I just mentioned act according to the aid and advice. So what does this mean? Does this make it binding or non-binding?
So binding.
Yes. So it's binding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this was added through the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act during the time of. So 44th Constitutional Amendment Act was passed during the Prime Ministership of
Indira Gandhi.
Morarji Desai.
बताइए इंदिरा गांधी या मोरारजी देसाई?
Morarji Desai.
चलिए सोच के बताइएगा. ओके. टुमारो लेट मी नो इंदिरा गांधी और मोरारजी देसाई ऑफ 1978. ठीक है.
Morarji Desai.
Second provision is that when the tender, the aid and advice which have been given by the Prime Minister, it cannot be questioned. It cannot be questioned, or there can be not be any court inquiry about it. Now, can you ask in terms of, can you file an RTI for asking what that advice was given by the Prime Minister? Can you file an RTI?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So this is the highly classified document you can think of. Okay. Now, who appoints the Council of Ministers?
President.
Appoints PM. And other members, other Council of Ministers are appointed by the President on the whom?
Recommendation of Prime Minister.
Advice of Prime Minister. Advice of Prime Minister. Okay. What is the strength? What is the maximum strength of Council of Ministers? Should not exceed
15%.
Yes. Not exceed 15% of total what? Members of the House?
Strength of the Lok Sabha.
Yes. Total 15% of total member of House of People. Now, sometimes what happens is that total Parliament they might write, or they might even include Rajya Sabha. Now, we might get confused, right? Because we see members of Rajya Sabha as ministers also. Okay, so when we are going to calculate 15%, it is from the House of People. Now, when was this provision included, like 15%?
91st Constitutional Amendment.
2003. Yes, 91st Constitutional Amendment of 2003. Passed, or you can say effectively inflected from 2004 onwards. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the minimum requirement? A minister to hold office must be, ministers hold office at the pleasure of Prime Minister or President? Ministers
Prime
hold
Minister.
President. President is the appointing authority, not the Prime Minister. Who appoints the ministers? President or the Prime Minister? आपने ओथ देखा है कभी? राष्ट्रपति भवन के सामने जो ओथ होता है, कौन ओथ दिलवाते हैं? Prime Minister, President. So ministers hold office at the pleasure of the President. Okay, and the Council of Ministers, they are collectively responsible to the President or the Prime Minister. Prime Minister or the President collectively responsible to?
Prime Minister.
अरे सारे बेवकूफ हैं.
President.
House of People. Why House of People? Why not Rajya Sabha? Because the work of the minister is, what is the work of the ministers? To take decision on behalf of the betterment of the people, right? So that's why they are collectively responsible to the House of the People. Now, in the examination, they might write Parliament. They might write President. They might write what? People of India. But all are wrong. They are collectively responsible to the House of the People only. Okay. Now, a minister who is not a member of any house for consecutively 6 months, not a member of any house for 6 consecutive months. For 6 consecutive months, so he or she shall cease to be a minister. Again, there is a special Supreme Court case related to it. So it simply says that to be a minister, you need to be a member of any house. Okay. So is it possible that I remain a minister for, let's say, 5 months and 29 days, resign, and again, let's say, after 5 days, again become minister? Is it possible? ये 6 महीने के लिए हम जो है मिनिस्टर थे, 6 महीने कंप्लीट होने से 1 दिन पहले रिजाइन कर दिया, फिर 6 महीने के लिए मिनिस्टर बन गया. ऐसा पॉसिबल है या नहीं? Possible or not
I
possible?
think it's possible. I think it's possible.
It's not possible. So this is something that was happening. Okay. So the Supreme Court said that no, when we are going to calculate 6 months, we are going to calculate the duration as per the duration of Lok Sabha. Otherwise, it's not. The sole purpose of this provision will be defeated. Okay, so the Supreme Court argued that no, it's not just that you are going to be minister without being a member. You have to be a member of parliament, either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. If you are not, then for the entire duration of that government, you cannot be a member, minister. Okay. Now, when we talk about the parliament, the Lok Sabha, the prime minister is always from the Lok Sabha, or can be from the Rajya Sabha also. The prime minister is always, because we know that a PM is the leader of the house. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The PM is always from the Lok Sabha, can be from the Rajya Sabha also.
So it can be from
Can be from the either house or only Lok Sabha.
It can be from either house.
either house.
Give me an example.
Indira Gandhi.
अरे वो जीती नहीं थी इलेक्शन. अलग बात है कि राजनारायण उनको चैलेंज किए थे, लेकिन इंदिरा गांधी तो जीती थी रायबरेली. डॉक्टर मनमोहन
Manmohan Singh is the
Yes, sir. Manmohan Singh.
Dr. Manmohan Singh. So Manmohan Singh never became member of Lok Sabha. Okay. So there are many examples. Okay, not just Manmohan Singh. There are multiple examples where you will find that yes, these are not members of Lok Sabha. So Prime Minister can be a member of either house. So, and why? Because we are saying that yes, Council of Ministers can be a member of either house. And Prime Minister is part of the Council of Ministers. Okay. What happens in the case of hung parliament? So hung parliament is a situation where no party gains majority. So what happens in this case? So in this case, what happens that the President of India, President is going to invite the leader of single largest party. Okay, that yes, you form the government, and the President of India gives time that yes, you talk to other members, and there is a date fixed for floor test. Okay, so this is something that you might hear all the time at the state level. And the same thing is there in the union level also. Okay, is that clear? What are the different categories of ministers? Union ministers. What are the different categories of union minister that we see in India? One is your cabinet minister. So cabinet is considered to be the highest decision-making body. Okay, highest decision-making body. Then we have Minister of State, or after this you can say deputy ministers. Then we have Ministers of State, independent charge. Okay. So when we talk about in the newspaper, you might feel and see every day cabinet committee. So these are the people, these are the ministers like Home or Defense, Finance, External Affairs Minister. So they are the highest decision-making body. Okay, members. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now last that we are going to discuss today is the Attorney General of India. Attorney General of India. Attorney General of India is given in the which article?
Article 70.
Article
70.
Yes, 76. So the first thing that you can think of, who appoints? Appointed by President.
President of
Okay. Who is qualified?
a judge of Supreme Court.
Anyone who is qualified to be appointed as judge of Supreme Court. Okay. What is the duty? Or duty, or what is the purpose? To give advice to
Government of India.
Legal matters.
Government of India. Why not President? Because President is appointing Attorney General of India. Why not give advice to the President of India on legal matters? बताइए, why not President of India? Because the President of India has the whole of Supreme Court to advise. Okay, so we'll be seeing that provision. So the objective of Attorney General of India is to give advice to the government of India and represent, not only advise, represent. So he is considered to be the first law officer and a representative. Okay. So as the Attorney General of India, he has a right of audience in all courts. Right of audience in all courts. Okay, within the territory of India. And just like Council of Ministers, Attorney General also holds office at the pleasure of President. So what exactly mean by the term pleasure of the President? How do we differentiate? Like, let's say for UPSC members, do UPSC members hold office at the pleasure of President? Or do judges of Supreme Court hold office at the pleasure of President? If yes, why? If not, why? What is the basic distinction when we say that yes, Attorney General or Council of Ministers, they're holding office at the pleasure of President? How do you differentiate between pleasure and non-pleasure positions and all?
Sir, can we
Sir, the legislature.
This means that President can remove Attorney General or Advocate General by the Governor or Prime Minister.
And the President cannot remove others? See, all those posts which have been mentioned in the Constitution where there is no removal procedure. Okay. So, Rishija, you are correct. Like when you mention Governor, the Council of Ministers. So these are some of the posts where there is no removal procedure. However, when we look at other positions, like members of UPSC or the Supreme Court, High Court judges, or even the CAG, there is a procedure for removal. Okay. And there is a parliamentary procedure for removal. So they once appointed, it's not the President who can remove.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
In the case of UPSC, even it is the President who removes. There is no you can say parliamentary procedure for removal of the UPSC chairperson or the members. But then the only condition is that there has to be a Supreme Court inquiry conducted. But then it is the President of India who removes the members. Okay. But then, and even in the case of Election Commissioner of India. So these are some of the distinctions. So all those where you can say that the members can be removed, they hold directly by the President of India, they hold at the pleasure of President. Now, what about the Finance Commission? Do they hold office at the pleasure of the President or they do not hold? What about Finance Commission? I mean, because Finance Commission members are also appointed by the President of India, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, does they hold office at the pleasure of President?
Yes, sir.
Constitution में लिखा हुआ है. Finance Commission do not hold office at the pleasure of President. See, the purpose of Finance Commission is very much specific. They are supposed to submit the report to the President. Once the report is submitted, the whole objective is over and so Finance Commission is not a permanent post. Okay, it's not a permanent body. Unlike the Attorney General of India or the CAG, it's a permanent post or a permanent body. Is that clear? That's why you'll find that the Finance Commission gets dissolved once they submit the report to the President of India. Okay. The Finance Commission office discontinues. Unlike Attorney General of India, even though you might feel that yes, there is someone who is not Attorney General of India, the post remains vacant. The office exists. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any question? So this is all that I thought that we can discuss today. Tomorrow we can start our discussion on the Parliament and all. So any question? Which article talks about the Finance Commission? Jaldi.
280.
280. See, all those things must be there on the lips. जैसे ही सवाल आए एकदम फटाक से ये होना चाहिए कि हाँ एकदम 100% ये चीज याद आना चाहिए. What does Article 2? I mean, 314 talks about, 316 talks about. These are some of the important articles. What does 368 talks about? Okay, and we discussed about the ministers. Once we start our discussion about the Parliament, the Rajya Sabha, the Lok Sabha, so there is a removal procedure of the members. We'll be separately discussing when we discuss the 10th schedule. Okay. Any question on today's discussion? Any question?
Sir, can you please repeat the power to grant pardon with respect to the government?
Power to grant pardon? Come again. Repeat your question.
Sir, you talked about the role of governor with respect to the power to grant pardon. Sir, can you please repeat that?
So the governor also has the power to grant pardon. Okay. So there are only two different posts. The only difference is that the government of India, whenever there is a matter concerning government of India, it is the President of India, and whenever it is for a particular state, so the first power is of the governor. Okay, so if the High Court has, let's say, uphold any capital punishment, then you can move to governor and request for pardon. Doesn't mean that you necessarily move to the President of India. It is when the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court says that okay, your capital punishment is going to be upheld, in that case, governor cannot work. In that case, it's only the President of India who can grant pardon.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Rishijan.
सर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट के इलेक्शन में सर स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज के मेंबर्स नहीं पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं
नहीं.
ओके सर
Any more question? Chalo. So let's wait.